There's a particular kind of emptiness that follows you after life has knocked you down. Not the dramatic, obvious pain, but the quiet erosion of believing in yourself. The way you've started questioning your value, your capability, your right to take up space in this world. What most people don't understand about this internal collapse is that it's not really about what happened to you. It's about the story you've started telling yourself about what it means. Maybe it was a relationship that ended with harsh words that made you question if you're lovable. Maybe it was a failure at work that made you doubt your competence. Maybe it was a series of small disappointments that accumulated into a belief that you're somehow fundamentally flawed or destined for struggle. You've internalized these experiences as evidence of your inadequacy, rather than recognizing them as part of the universal human experience of facing challenges and setbacks. The inner dialogue has shifted from "that was difficult" to "I am not enough." From "that didn't work out" to "I always mess things up." You've made temporary circumstances permanent by turning external events into internal identity. The critic in your head has become louder than the voice that once knew your inherent goodness. This isn't just about feeling bad about yourself. It's about how this diminished sense of worth affects everything you touch. When you don't believe in your own value, you settle for less in relationships, accepting treatment that reflects your internal assessment rather than your actual worth. You hold back from opportunities, convinced you'll fail before you even try. You dim your light in rooms, apologize for taking up space, second-guess every instinct. The hidden cost extends beyond missed opportunities. It affects your capacity to receive. Compliments bounce off you. Achievements feel hollow. Love from others seems misplaced, because how could they really see value in someone so flawed? You become skilled at deflecting goodness because it doesn't match your internal narrative. Even when life offers beauty, connection, or success, you can't fully receive it because you've convinced yourself you don't deserve it. This creates a self-perpetuating cycle where your beliefs about your worth influence your choices, which then seem to confirm those beliefs. You don't advocate for yourself, so you don't get what you want, which reinforces the story that you're not valuable enough to have good things. You approach relationships from insecurity, which creates the very dynamics you fear. You operate from scarcity, which limits what becomes available to you. There's an ancient wisdom that our achievement-focused culture rarely discusses. Your worth was never something you earned through what you accomplished or lost through what you failed to do. It was never dependent on others' approval or your ability to meet external standards. Your value is not a commodity that fluctuates based on performance. It's an inherent quality of your existence, as fundamental as your need for breath or water. This isn't positive thinking or empty affirmation. It's recognition of something that's always been true, but got obscured by layers of conditioning and painful experiences. Every being that enters this world arrives with inherent dignity, worthiness, and the right to exist exactly as they are. That worthiness doesn't get revoked by mistakes, failures, or even poor choices. It remains constant beneath whatever stories we've learned to tell about ourselves. Understanding this requires distinguishing between your essential self and your temporary experiences. You are not your failures any more than you are your successes. You are not your emotions any more than the sky is the weather that moves through it. You are the awareness in which all experiences arise, the consciousness that witnesses both triumph and defeat, without being fundamentally altered by either. Start by noticing how you speak to yourself, particularly during difficult moments. Would you address a child or dear friend with the same harshness you direct toward yourself? Begin experimenting with the radical act of treating yourself with basic kindness, not because you've earned it through being perfect, but because kindness is what consciousness deserves simply for being conscious. Practice catching yourself when you turn temporary setbacks into permanent verdicts about your character. Instead of, "I always mess things up," try, "That didn't go as planned." Instead of, "I'm not good enough," try, "I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough." This small shift creates space between you and the story, allowing you to see thoughts as mental events rather than absolute truths about who you are. Reconnect with your body as a source of wisdom rather than judgment. Your body doesn't lie about your worth. It simply exists, breathes, heals, adapts, continues. Place your hand on your chest and feel your heart beating. This heart has been loyal to you through every experience, never questioning whether you deserve its service. Let that unwavering commitment remind you of your inherent value. Look for evidence of your worth that exists independent of achievement or approval. Notice moments when you feel compassion for another's suffering. Observe your natural impulse to help when someone struggles. Pay attention to how you appreciate beauty, feel moved by music, or find joy in simple pleasures. These responses aren't achievements. They're expressions of your essential nature, proof of the goodness that exists within you, regardless of external circumstances. As you begin to separate your worth from your performance, something shifts. The tight grip of self-judgment loosens. The constant need to prove yourself quiets. You start making choices from desire rather than fear, from authentic preference rather than desperate people-pleasing. Relationships become more honest because you're not trying to earn love by being someone you're not. Opportunities become visible that were always there but seem beyond your reach when you believed you weren't worthy of them. You begin to receive compliments, support, and love more fully because they align with your growing recognition of your inherent value. The same external world starts looking different when you're seeing it through eyes that know their own worth. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or stop growing. It means you base your growth on love, rather than self-hatred, on genuine desire to express your gifts, rather than desperate attempts to prove you deserve to exist. You discover that sustainable confidence doesn't come from achievements, but from an unshakable knowing that your worth is not up for debate. The journey back to recognizing your worth isn't about returning to some previous version of yourself. It's about discovering who you've always been beneath the stories of inadequacy. It's about remembering that your value isn't determined by what you do, but by the simple miracle of what you are. A unique expression of consciousness having a human experience, deserving of respect, kindness, and love simply because you exist. So, if something in this message touched that place in you that remembers its own goodness, leave a comment with the word worthy. Let it be a quiet declaration that you're ready to see yourself through clearer eyes, to treat yourself with the reverence that consciousness deserves. And if these words feel like a reminder you need to hear regularly, subscribe. There's more here for you. Not empty platitudes about self-esteem, but gentle invitations back to the truth of your inherent worth that was never actually lost, only temporarily forgotten.